was rough. Those first couple of days for me were rough. I'm a person who prays. I believe in God. I have my faith, but I literally told God on the ride home, like, I don't know what to say to you. I don't even want to talk to you right now because like, why would you let this happen? I don't know what to say to you.
What joke is this?
Like why would you let this happen?
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Royal Access. Today we'll be talking about waiting on your womb. And joining me today, I'm your host, Corel, and joining me today is
Gail Clarke.
I am so excited to have this conversation. Gail doesn't even live in Freeport.
No.
She's in Freeport right now, so I'm glad we caught up with you. Yes. So the first question that I give all of my guests is, how did we meet?
Oh, jeez. Well, did you go to Sun Island?
I did.
You did go to Sun Island.
I did go to Sun Island.
So I always knew you.
I get that a lot with my guests. Every time when we go through the conversation, they're like, well, I knew you.
Right. Know you.
Know you. So I was trying to figure out, do you remember?
I'm trying to remember the exact moment.
Because this wouldn't have been when we met.
It
I would have known you.
It would have been somewhere before then.
So I had to figure it out the other day. I was like, in case you don't remember. So, new face of Mango Tree Media.
That's right.
That's when we connected. You were doing makeup. You had just started doing makeup.
Oh my God.
And so you were like, whatever experience is necessary, I'm coming. And Mark brought you on. Mark Winder brought you on.
That's right.
But we were there in their studios every Sunday, all day.
Yes. Long hours.
You doing like 15 girl faces.
Yes.
From 1 until, and it was the new face Mango Trees. And then after, because I was like, Gail was in book club with me, but I was like, but how would she get in book club if I don't know her? Mango Tree was before book club. Then we did book club, then we did working out, and then we were kind of just
oh my God,
But yes, that was it.
That's a real black boy. That's so wow.
So today we're talking about waiting on your womb.
Yes.
So my first question is, when you were single, or even when you first got married, what was your vision of this is how it's gonna be set up. This is how I'm gonna get married then, and then I'm gonna have what was your vision?
Well, I know I didn't want to have a baby right away.
Okay.
I wanted to take it. Well, back in the day.
Back in the day. Before you got married, did you have an age for getting married?
Yes. Like 22.
22.
That didn't
Mine
happen.
was 21.
20. You just think, okay, 22. I'm gonna be married, and then I'm gonna wait a few years to have kids, and then I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna, start having a family. Then I'll be done by 30.
Right. So you thought you would be done with kids by 30?
I thought I'd be done by 30.
How old was your mom when she got married?
Lord, mommy was 19 when she got married.
Yeah, my mom was 21. So I think that plays a role in when you're thinking. So you're thinking you're gonna get married at 22. It happens at 28.
28, yeah.
28. So once you got married at 28, when did you think like, okay, this is the year then I'll start having kids?
We wanted to wait at least a year.
Okay.
So we did that, and then at the end of that year, it was just like, am I really ready to have another human, to be responsible for another human?
Right.
But we wanted to start trying, so we said, okay, well, throw the birth control away. And
there we go. A year in, it was like, okay, throw the birth control away, and we'll try. So there wasn't, at that time, at 29, there wasn't like a set date.
No, I just knew that I didn't want to have my first child at, further along. I wanted to, we've been married for a year now, going on a year and a half. So now let's start
trying.
Let's start to try and see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So it didn't take long once we came off of the pill, and we did end up getting pregnant. Right. So yeah.
And so you got pregnant, and by this time, how old were you?
I was 29.
29.
29? Or was I 30?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
This is true. God, was I 30 yet?
Yeah, 29 or 30. So you were 29 and 30, and it happened. And what was that experience like when you found out, like, we're pregnant?
When I found out that we were pregnant, every emotion that you could think of kind of went through my mind. Like, I kind of went through all of that. It's just like you're excited, but you're scared, but you're happy, but you're like, and then I'm like, okay, how am I going to tell him? Now I got to think of some way to tell him.
Something creative.
So before he came downstairs, I went into the kitchen. I'm like, what the heck can I do? And we had like a pack of like buns. They call them salt buns and burritos on the counter. I'm like, I'm just gonna put a bun on the plate and put it in the oven and then have him open it. So I heard him coming downstairs. I put it in the oven. And I was like, babe, could you go check the oven for me, please? So he's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like what? Like, what am I checking the oven for? So I said, could you go check the oven for me, please?
Right, like just do it.
So he's like, okay. So he opens the oven and he's just like, what does this mean? And I'm like, there's a bun in the oven. So you said, so he literally said, what are you saying? Like 45 times. I am not exaggerating.
So what are you saying?
He said, what are you saying? What are you saying? What do you say? I'm like, babe, like, do I have to explain this? Scientifically, what just happened? So we were just really happy.
Wow.
We were really, really happy because he wanted to be a father, like really, really badly.
Right.
Yeah. So we were really excited.
And you had that moment. And so how long were you in this phase of, okay, I'm excited? Did you start telling people?
We told our family that same day. So it's like we call my dad and my stepmom, and we were like, hey, I showed them the test, and they're like, oh my god, congratulations! Like all my sisters, my friend, and it was just
the same day that you found out.
The same day that we found out. I'm like, because we were excited. It's just like, yes, and in that moment you don't think anything is gonna happen. It's just like, we're pregnant. Yes, we're gonna have a child.
Everybody should know.
Everybody should know about this.
As planned.
Yes, this is awesome. So we told a lot of people, went to the first doctor visit, and we heard the heartbeat, and it was just like, oh wow, like this is amazing. We're gonna have a kid. And I mean, we were excited up until that second doctor visit.
So it was the second doctor visit?
It was the second doctor visit.
And how long was this?
This would have been in my 10th week. Because it's about a month in between. So we went back to the doctor. We're sitting inside the waiting room, cracking jokes. I'm threatening to cut my hair at this point. I'm like, yeah, So we're sitting there cracking jokes and in a good mood.
Right.
Excited to go and see the baby on the ultrasound again and hear the heartbeat. And so we go into the doctor's office. So, he just looked a little bit like, And he said it kind of casually, so it's not to alarm, but it was just like the baby looks kind of small. So I'm thinking, I've been doing some reading, so I'm like, a week behind could be normal at this point,
Right.
And he just was like he's still trying to find the heartbeat, and I'm like, okay, like what's happening?
At this time, were you getting nervous?
I think it hadn't dawned. Like it didn't, because you just never think that it's going to happen to you. So in my mind, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not receiving what you're saying at all.
I don't receive
Right. I hear what you're saying, I just don't respect it.
Sorry.
Right. So Wenrick was like, well, doc, what does that mean?
Right.
So he was like, well, unfortunately. So, he does, the thing that doctors do when they clasp their hands and they're about to tell you something that's not good. And so he did that, and he's just like, I can't find the heartbeat. And he said, I'm sorry to tell you, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, okay. So he walked out of the room to go into his office and give me a moment to get dressed. And I started to say something to Wenrick. Because normally I'm pretty strong, but I think it was one of those things where you're not expecting it. It was just like a punch to the gut. So I started to say something, or to try to say something encouraging. And I mean, I just pretty much melted into a puddle. Like, I just burst into tears. I was just shocked. Like, how do we go from laughing and then 15 minutes later, it's just like the thing that you came here for is no longer, So we went into the doctor's office to, I guess, to discuss what the options were.
Right.
And when we got in there, he was like, I could basically remove it today. I could give you a pill. You could wait and see if your body passes naturally. And in that moment, it was like, I didn't want to make the decision because in your mind, you're like, well, maybe he missed something, Like, I don't want to do this and then he missed something, or I just wasn't ready to not be pregnant anymore. It was rough. Those first couple of days for me were rough. I'm a person who prays. I believe in God. I have my faith, but I literally told God on the ride home, like, I don't know what to say to you. I don't even want to talk to you right now because, like, why would you let this happen? Yeah, I don't know what to say to you.
What kind of cruel joke is this?
Like, why would you let this happen?
They're just not,
In the first place.
The thing with you saying that, I feel like a lot of women, and I've never been in that situation, where I had to go through that experience of either waiting or having to go through a miscarriage. And so that's why it's so good that we have this conversation, because you've been there. But I imagine that what you said is what a lot of women feel, whether they're going through a miscarriage or if they're waiting. Like, I don't know what to say to you right now. Like, it's been 8 years and I'm still not pregnant.
Right.
I don't know what to say to you right now.
Or this is
Like-
the second or third one, and this is still happening. Like, what do you even say? Like, I had to be authentic. And that moment, it was just like, I am upset. Like, I am angry, and I don't have words to string together right now, and I don't have pretense to give you. Like, I cannot pretend and be like, oh, you know, blessed be the name of no, bro. Like,
Blessed be the name of the Lord.
I'm upset. I don't know what to say, so I'm just not gonna say anything. So it took me even a couple of days to be able to pray.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually talk to God. So how long after that? So we went through that experience, then we have that, you know, relationship with God where it's not going too well. How long after that do you guys decide to try again?
Well, the nurse suggested 6 months.
And then you got pregnant right away?
After that second month?
Yes. The first month it was no.
The first month it was, I thought it was, but I was like, oh no. Okay.
It wasn't.
Maybe next time.
And then the second month?
Second month, yeah.
You got pregnant?
We got pregnant.
And so what was that experience like? Like, did you call everybody the first day when you found out that time?
We did not. I think we may have called. Did we wait a couple? Yeah, I think we might have waited even a week to tell my dad those. But we waited until that first doctor visit to really start to tell anybody. And even then, it was a very limited. I think I might have told my sister. I didn't even tell my friends because that's another set of trauma. You know, on top of trauma, when you have to go back and now tell the people who were so excited with you that, hey, by the way, that thing that you were excited about last week, that's not happening. Like, that's canceled. You know, like
that's canceled.
Right.
So not wanting to go through that.
Right. I'm like,
again.
I don't want to have to call nobody because I literally, like, the first time I told my sister, I said, listen, this is what happened. I don't want to talk. Like, I don't call me. I don't want to talk. This is what happened. Just letting you guys know. It took me a few days to even, you know, be able to have conversations with people. I had to process through it first.
Right.
So this time I was just like...
Were you embarrassed?
I wasn't embarrassed. I was just more hurt than anything else. Yeah.
Hurt.
It was just like, what is going on? You know, and then the doctor said something like, oh, you know, the good news is you could get pregnant. And I'm like, I hear you, and that is good news, but I know women personally who can get pregnant, but they can't sustain the pregnancy.
So then that would have been a fear in your mind, too, of, will I ever sustain the pregnancy?
So it's like, that's good news, but it's not really comforting because there are people who get pregnant and they can't, you know, they can't carry the baby to term.
Right. And so you didn't know if that's the category that I was about to fall in.
I don't know what's going on because I don't know why it terminated. And he said that, you know, early on in pregnancy, sometimes if the cells don't knit together properly, the body will terminate. It'll self-terminate. If something went wrong in that initial stage of the cells coming together. But they don't really have answers to that. And then that early, there's nothing that they could do. Your body is just, it could be protecting itself. Something could have gone wrong. Or it could just be that maybe you're not able to. You won't know that until you try again. Yeah.
I think we were having a conversation before and you were telling me while you were pregnant it was very nerve-wracking because you'd already gone through this experience before.
Yes.
And you were in the car with somebody and there was something playing on the radio. Somebody was talking about her experience.
Yes. So I was pretty much nervous, so for me mentally, I wanted to make it past the second doctor visit. So I came home right after we found that we were pregnant. Wasn't telling anybody. And I was listening to this lady tell her story about how she's basically on her third miscarriage. And I'm waiting for her to get to the point where she says, and, you know, now I have a child, but she never got there. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, I don't know why you're letting me. I don't even understand why you allow me to hear this because I ain't even trying to have that kind of faith, yo. Like, that was literally what I said.
I got that kind of faith.
And I have to repent for that. Like, we should all aspire to more faith, but in that moment, I was like, I don't even know why you let me listen to this because I ain't even trying to hear this right now.
Right.
I already dealing with enough on top of this, and now I'm hearing. But the lady, her faith was really strong, though.
Right.
Like, she just sounded like so.
And so she had went through the 3 miscarriages, and still, at the time of this interview,
they're still trying.
Still trying.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know.
So what is your encouragement to someone who's in that? Either they are going through the miscarriages and they still have no child, or they're not even, like the doctor said, getting pregnant.
Right. My encouragement was to stay positive. That's the best thing that you could do, and to keep trying. You know, your body is created for this. There's any number of reasons why something like that can happen, even down to you don't know what God could be keeping you from. You know, timing is everything. So it would just be to stay positive to remain open to the idea, like don't check yourself off and do not be ashamed. You know, it happens to so many women.
A lot of people don't talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about it because they think it's a shameful thing for a woman to be barren. You know, a lot of people
from Bible days.
Yeah, so it's almost like it makes you feel less of a woman. You know, like I'm supposed to be able to do this. My body should be able to do this, but it can't. So, but right, you're not less of a woman if that happens. You know, it happens to a lot of us. There are so many women who've been through. My mother went through a miscarriage before she had my little brother. I think she was like 4 months. And it was almost the same thing where the baby had passed for like almost a month before they even found out.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think one of the things that you said too that you want to tell them, stay positive, to, you know, don't feel ashamed, but keep trying. Yeah. I think there's something in the keep trying, because if you feel like I went through a miscarriage, or I've been going through this for several years, because there's some people who've gone through it for several years. If you just decide to stop, then you're never going
Oh, and
to have the
my
child.
sister was just telling me a story about this couple who had been married, but she was listening to their story on the radio, and they had been married for 20 years, and they just had their first child. Wow. They had been trying for 20 years.
They kept trying for 20 years.
They kept trying. They didn't give up, but I mean, now they have a little girl, and I mean, I'm pretty sure she could have the moon if she really wanted it. Because her parents wanted her for 20 years.
For 20 years. Yeah. And I think that also helps to be a testimony to somebody else who's going through a hard time. Because I think one of the things that we have to realize in life, that a part of us being on earth is to be a witness to other people. Yeah. And so sometimes God uses our life as an example to somebody else. And our life to be an encouragement to someone else. You went through that because he knew you would be strong enough to talk about it. Yeah. To tell someone and to help someone to know that you may lose your faith, and that's okay. Yeah. But you get it back.
Yeah. Like that, the minute it happened.
But being authentic with your feelings.
Yeah. But you have to be. You have to be authentic with how you feel. I didn't want to pretend. I didn't want to pretend that this was something that I was okay with. I wanted to be able to grieve through it, but I knew that even in that grief, that it was something that I would speak about, that I would write about, to let people, just to give a voice to people who may not know how to express themselves, people who went through it, but they haven't been able to process through it. I think it's really important for us to use our experiences to encourage other people. You know, even when you're still in it, because a lot of times you can feel really isolated. Right. You can feel like it's just me. Like all this stuff is happening to me. When if you share yours, like so many women reached out after I wrote about it. Right. And were telling me their stories, and you know, this happened to me 10 years ago, and I'm still not over it. Wow. This same thing happened to me. I found out just like you. You know.
But I think talking about it, even if you don't do it on a platform like this, I think talking about it also helps you to heal.
It does.
And so one of the things that we deal with in the book, when I talk about waiting on your womb in the book, is realizing that even if you have a baby, it won't fulfill you. Oh no, it won't make you happy, or I mean, it will make you happy, but you're happy to have your baby.
Yeah, but happiness is fleeting though. Like happiness is like circumstantial, because you could and especially with, you know, all of the hormonal changes and stuff with postpartum and stuff like that. Like you could have a baby, but if you're not fulfilled within yourself, like already, that's not gonna fill that void for you. It's not gonna do it for you. If you're already questioning yourself or doubting yourself, that's going to amplify it, because now you have another person to depend. You know, you have another thing to question yourself about, basically. You know, am I going to be a good mom? Am I going to love my child?
So it just moves. So people think like, oh, if I just get a baby, I'll be happy. If I finally get this baby, I'll be happy. But what you're saying is, if you have that void there, the minute the baby comes, it's going to shift in another.
Or it creates another one. Because now I have to measure up as a parent. Whereas before, that's not a pressure that I had. No. I didn't have to worry about, you know, somebody judging me for how I raised my child, but now I have to kind of measure up as a parent. That's another thing now that you have to worry about on top of whatever else you were insecure about before.
Exactly. Like, where's Grace now? You're here doing this interview.
With her auntie. With my sister. But that's, you know, are you breastfeeding? Are you not breastfeeding? Why aren't you giving her formula? You know, are you going to do this? And it's just, there are so many things now that I have to consider, but I have to chart my own way. But if I'm already insecure before, this would not have made me a more confident person. If anything, it makes you question yourself more. Like, am I doing this right? Am I doing the best, you know, for her and for me? Right. Like, can I do that and now still be a good wife? Because now I have to focus on a baby. And, you know, what about my businesses? What about the things that I want to do? If you're not already fulfilled within yourself, This having a baby is not going to.
Wow.
It will fill the void of, yes, you having a child, but it's not going to make you
complete or
complete,
whole
no.
or fulfilled
No.
completely. There's still going to be wants in your life. There's still going to be
Absolutely.
desires. And so, yeah, so you went through the first miscarriage, you got to the second pregnancy, there was scares, but then the beautiful baby was here.
Yes.
She was here.
Yes, she came.
And like you said, you enjoy her.
I love her.
You're happy, you guys.
Yes.
You know, you created this life.
Yes.
But I like what you said, because a lot of people say that marriage amplifies whatever's going on, but you said that it happens with a kid too, because I didn't think about it. It now amplifies, like, am I a good parent? Am I doing this right? Should I have done this? So you have to fill that void outside of, you have to have that joy and outside of these things, outside of a baby.
Because the truth is, you're gonna fail some days at being a parent, just like how you failed some days at being married. You know,
Right.
You're not always gonna feel like the greatest parent in the world, like I'm doing this properly. You know, especially when you're tired and getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're exhausted, you're frustrated. You know, and you're not frustrated at the baby, but you're frustrated at, like, I'm here, like, I'm tired, like, I want to be doing this, but I'm here with my child, who I love and wouldn't give up for anything, but you have those moments.
Right.
So you can't, it's not going to be the be-all, end-all of your happiness, even if you get it. And I say that as somebody who, obviously, my desire was fulfilled, but even in having her, it's just like there are still things outside of her that I want to do.
That you desire. What are some things outside of now that she's here? And we're gonna wrap this up as the final question. You attained it. The thing you waited. You went through a rough part of waiting it, and it didn't happen like you wanted it to happen. And then it came. You came to full fruition. I got the thing that I desired. But as a person, as Gail, there's still things that you desire.
I have so many ideas and business ideas and things that I want to do. Like, there's so much that I want to do, but now I have to consider her.
Right.
So there's still a lot that I want to accomplish. And while I consider her one of my greatest accomplishments, in life, I still want to hit the mark in terms of entrepreneurship and just the ideas that I have on the inside of me. Like, it didn't stop with her. It's not like, okay, this is it. My life is now complete and fulfilled.
I have a kid.
Now it's just like, okay, now I gotta figure out how to get these other things with you on my arm.
And things that are gonna be great for you too.
Right.
Like things you would want to do for her too, and then things you want to do for your family.
Yes.
And things you want to do for Gail.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
you for sharing the story. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Royal Access. And we just want to remind you about our book, May I Call You Queen? Unlocking the Royalty Code to Living Your Best Life. It comes out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So I hope that you would join us at the launch. And thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Gail.